Dame Dash. We know y'all gonna dig this. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for a legend in the hip-hop game, the Rockefeller impresario of media, art, fashion, film, and now Web 3.0 visionary, Mr. Dame Dash. Dame Dash. Dame Dash. Dame Dash.
Bring them on the screen. Mr. Dash. Oh, I love the glasses.
Dash.
I
love
love
the glasses, man.
First and foremost, thank you again for taking the time out of your day. How are you doing so far? How are you?
I'm good. I've been moving around, dealing with being a dad, personal things here and there things happen in life, nothing the worst, but actually enjoying the problems because I'm able to be a dad.
Okay. Let's start with the beginning. I really want to talk about not just the music, but the business and your mindset. What got you started, and how did you even develop this level of thinking, even getting into business, if you will?
I think it was my desire at a young age to be the best at everything and wanting to have the flyest clothes, not liking to be told what to do so much, just this desire to have the freedom to do what I want, when I want, and not have to ask. And, I was in survival mode, so I hit the street. And I did what most people did at that time to survive. But I was also able to think about what the future looks like, because you have to be very strategic when your life and your freedom is in jeopardy based on the moves that you make. And what I saw in my future was jail or death. Just because of what I call now the life algorithm, I just looked at patterns that were happening before me. How many people survived this game? And then I was starting to see the people around me getting touched in ways I did not like, getting kidnapped, getting killed. That's what Paid in Full was about. That was my personal experience. So I was looking for a way to be independent without the danger, something that would make my life sustainable, and I could do things I enjoy, things that I wanted to do for free. And I just figured out how to do those things. I just looked for the path, the road. And even in, having corporate success, because initially we started independent. And what you'll notice about corporate is once you can make the money, no matter what, whether they like you or not, they're going to try to get with you any way they can. Whether it's to own you, distribute you, they'll take any piece of that pie they could get. It's all about the money. It's never about the color. Well, it's about the color of that money. So even when I got to the level of success corporately, it still didn't feel right. I still wasn't able to be free. I wasn't completely happy. Me being told I was successful because other people were paying for my stuff and telling me what to do and taking credit for my culture's creative process. I was literally giving it to them to sell it back to us. I had to look for a path not to do that, to do it different. So technology and independence, along with swag and being inspired and really being a creative, without worrying about business all the time, but worrying about freedom first, you always get back to technology. Because if you understand that you can always cut out that middleman. The middleman is always, without you, they don't make money, so they have to pretend you need them. And there's a lot of mind manipulation that goes on with that. Rock.
Okay, so, Mr. Dash, what do you think would be the next innovative phase for music and technology?
That's a good question.
Well, the best innovative phase, whether it's innovative or not, is to figure out how to keep the artist in control of their masters. So what happens in the music business is you sign away your master. Now think of the wording, master. You have your master. You are the master. Then you sell your master. That means almost your soul to somebody else, and they become your master. And now you're renting your own essence, your own creativity from the person that owns you for a check. And then you're taught to celebrate that. So the most innovative thing to me is to figure out how to make the creative more money so they remain in power. The problem with the creative is they can't make their visions into a reality without the money. Then they got to go to someone that's not creative for the money. And then they lose control of the creative. And then it's It's like an oxymoron at that point. So I think the Web3 world is a place where you can make a lot of money building a brand, having a community, and selling them everything that you want to sell them direct to consumer without a middleman. And again, I'm not the tech savvy guy. I'm just looking for freedom. And it always brings me back to tech.
Okay. I think that's a
okay.
good transition going
It's a
right
great
into Web
transition.
3.0.
Okay, so Web 3.0 and blockchain, right? It's going to dictate the future of tech. So how are you preparing your the transition of your businesses, or to better yet, dominate that space?
It's about always creating the narrative and being in the future. I'm a time traveler. So I go to the future and I just logically see what life is going to look like before everyone else does. And sometimes that's a gift and a curse because when the rest of the market's not ready, you got to wait. A lot of things have to be built around the market to support it, and then people got to learn how to use it. But you start practicing stuff before everybody gets it. So for the Web3 space, I would think, I don't want to sound corny or nothing, but I think I was trying to do streaming services before Netflix. I understood the internet before most people did. I've been having creative control. Those are the guys that did Kanye's doc. I don't know why they didn't mention it. I was funding creative control, the internet television network, for years before they were even monetizing YouTube. I was practicing to have a network. So now what I've done is I've got with technology, I was trying to build an apparatus, an app that was not only a streaming service, but I wanted to be able to have people buy things that they're watching without disengaging.
Okay.
And then also be able to get the music that comes, go to the show, be able to have performances, be able to do all of those things, have magazines, have books, have toys, everything. And I was trying to build it, but building your own app, even if you build it, the maintenance that comes with it,
Yeah.
just because it's really hard to get something done without the bugs and seeing it work. So it
Right.
can look good, but it won't work. So the best thing for me is I always try to give the game to a bigger corporation, like a Vimeo, and be like, this is what I need. Let them build it. They'll have the service and just white label it. But my mind was so far ahead, no one was ready for this. But I found some people that actually were thinking this way. So I've been able to identify them. So I'm launching a new streaming service, and I'm not doing it on an app. It's called the DApp because it's in the Web3 world.
Decentralized.
It's
Right.
on the
Right.
blockchain.
Right.
So it's called the DApp, not an app. And you'll be able to not only get the content, public speaking, everyone that has their own channel, they'll be able to have their own streaming service, their own live stream. You'll be able to buy things while you're watching it without disengaging. You'll be able to go right into the metaverse through a portal and go right into my the Dash NFT gallery, get the Oculus, and you'll be in the metaverse, and everything that you were doing in the real world, you could do there. Movie screenings, art gallery openings, fashion shows, all those things. You'll be able to get the books. We have the books. Dusko Goes to Space. We have Dusko and Apple Fish for the kids. Movies. We distribute other movies. Dame Dash Studios, 50 to 30. I need a Rocky. I need you to, and with all of that, meaning we have Dame Dash Studios. We have 50 to about 50 independent film artists that make movies. So we distribute them on Tubi. So we'll have that section. We'll have the OSG section, which will be all the principals making their dreams come true in the form of television shows and books. We'll have all those books there. You can have a book club. It goes on and on and on. But at the end of the day, because it's on the blockchain, which is why I love Web3, is because of the transparency of every transaction. Every time a dollar is made, it'll go right to your digital wallet. You will never have to get an accountant or a forensic. It's all on the blockchain. So as soon as the transaction
Okay.
happens, your money goes right to you. And that's where, to me, the brilliance of the blockchain is. It's not quite, the NFTs are cool, those go up, those go down, the currencies, whatever. It's just the transparency of transactions. I know that that's where the world is going. And the way people put it in a language is what most creatives don't understand. So my job is to talk regular. in a language that people understand, that doesn't trigger them, that doesn't make them feel like they're dumb,
Right.
straight hood layman's terms. Because they always put things in language that intimidates us, so we don't even want to engage.
Exactly.
So I'm
Exactly.
trying to teach our culture to start practicing now in this language to understand exactly what it is. I mean, understanding contracts is cool, but most of the time, it's just a bunch of rhetoric and lawyers are getting paid by the hour. But also, when you do a deal, if I'm showcasing your stuff, then you do a smart contract. And also, every time anything gets sold, if it resells, you still get a piece.
And you know what, Mr.
So, like the
Dash?
problem with Yeezys is when he sells his sneakers for 150, they resell for 1,200. They don't get a dollar off that because they can't track it. You
Right.
can now track it.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you said that because later on we have a NFT or crypto expert coming on to talk on Web 3.0, NFT Charlotte. But one thing I want to go back towards kind of, I mean, you've experienced a lot throughout your career. Can you give me one story or no, one lesson that you learned that really just changed your thinking in the way you decided to attack either business, life, or the way you did things? What was that story and that lesson you learned? It could have been the hard way, the easy way that you had to go through.
I had to learn based on making a lot of people a lot of money and very successful and helping the trajectory for their families and learning that they don't care about me, that I need to meet and that I have to be unapologetic and brave about my point of views in different verticals, in art, music, in fashion, in movies, in everything, because I'm a human being with a lot of different emotions, but every emotion I feel I'm good at making into an actual reality. And I like to showcase my taste on every level. And, I didn't want to make money off people anymore. I just wanted to make money off me. And that's what I had to really learn.
Great.
And once I learned that, my life completely changed. I became an artist before a businessman. It's art before the business, but the artist has to know the business. But you never do
It's
anything
true.
just for a dollar.
You know what? Let's expand on that business part because I heard you say something at the Blueprint Summit, and it was like it sounds like common sense, but you don't think about it in terms of before you start a business, you got to learn how to know how the business is going to make money. Can you expand upon what people need to be thinking about when they are deciding to start a business and just any really entrepreneurship endeavor?
You have to make sure you're doing something that you love, doing something that you enjoy so much that you would be doing it for free. Don't just do something because it has the ability to make you famous or because it has the ability to make you money. You should be doing something that makes you feel good because it makes other people feel good.
Absolutely.
If you're only in business for yourself, then you're not in business to me. You're in self.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So for me, I only do things like what I'm doing right now. I love it, and I'm doing it for free. But I also get paid to do it, to talk. I talk so much that my family would pay for me not to talk. You understand what I'm saying? But
Absolutely.
I do it. I'm telling you, I'm not even lying. A prophet is never a prophet in his house. Trust me, at all. But my point is, I figured out a way to monetize stuff that I do for free. I watch movies. I like making movies. I love fashions. I like making clothes. I love my culture, so I love helping it. It's not work. I'll do that for free. Somebody else got to pay. You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Like y'all not making money off me. Y'all making pause love. Love is a currency that's not man-made. It's God-made.
Absolutely.
So that's what I'm a servant to. Being a servant to a dollar is like being a servant to a man. And that's no bueno. It's definitely not Dame Dash.
Absolutely. Ooh.
Hey.
I got to touch on this just real quick. So,
Go ahead.
being a servant to a dollar is like being a servant to a man. I was having this conversation with somebody else, and we were going back and forth of, is money the root of all evil? And it's like, no, it's not. Money itself can't do anything. If you leave $100, a stack of 10,000.
It's the temptation of all evil.
It's the vote, exactly,
Yep.
right? It enables people to have those feelings that, oh, they're willing to do certain things that morally you shouldn't be doing, but in order to get that back. But the money itself, it doesn't do anything. It's the people behind the money that allows them or that forces them to transition and change their thinking and do things that they normally wouldn't do. And so I'm glad that you made that point, because I feel like a lot of the times what we do is we go after the things for money instead of doing what we love. And what that does is it causes you to, I don't want to say be depressed, but it causes you to lose.
No, it does cause you to be depressed. You're programmed to think that money and fame is the actual wealth. And most people I know with money and fame are miserable. But we're told you can't do what you're told. We're programmed. Something's put in your face every day. Who to worship, to work every day, to go to school, sit behind a desk 8 hours of a day when the sun's out, to not retire till you're 70. I retired when I was 35. I was not going to listen to them tell me that I couldn't retire, but I had to be old when I retired. I retired Rockefeller at 35, and since then I've been doing what I want to do. Life. That's when you get you know the people that only smell their roses when they or can't smell their roses because they only get celebrated when they die. It's because they only working till they die. They never get a chance to enjoy nothing.
Give me my flowers. You right.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I get my flowers because I got to stop and say, this is what life looks like when I'm not doing it. What did the music business look like when I was not in it? How did it change? Or the fashion or anything else. And the fact that I'm able to disengage from something I didn't believe in and totally engage in helping my culture, not by complaining, but by actually complying. I made a plan. I don't complain, I comply. If I'm bothered about something, I make a plan to fix it. Or else I'm not talking about it. I'm not going to aggravate and make people scared and make people feel helpless unless I have a roadmap to get out of that situation. And I have a roadmap based on me. So in real time, when I'm suggesting people do certain things, it's because I'm doing it. I'm telling you that you can be independent and you can live a luxurious life. I'm not going to tell you it's going to be easy because that would be a lie. It would mean you have to pay attention to every single detail, even the ones that you don't enjoy, because you have to be able to be creative and understand the business. I hate business. I'm not a businessman because I won't just do anything for money. That's a businessman. I'm an artist that's going to profit. Or for me, I'm not selling you me to buy me back from you. I'm not doing that. So instead of complaining, I'm creating my ways. Our problem culturally is we don't have distribution. We got to stick together. We have to pass the plug. When one of us make money, at least 100 of us should make money.
Absolutely.
Period.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So that's why any opportunity that I have, I'm going to pass to people that I know are also going to pass. You guys are passing the plug. And I love this technology. I'm looking at it. I'm very impressed. It's live. This is dope. I'm actually going to learn something for you because I'm going to ask you how you did all this. And I'm going to also say we made a deal that you're going to do one of these on my platform.
Absolutely.
Remember we spoke about that?
Yes,
All
sir.
right?
We're ready. We're ready.
My word.
Yes, sir.
And
Got you.
OSG, Chicago, you know, you guys are impressive. You're young, you're articulate, you're really doing things. I see you. And also, you know, I designed that logo. I'm creative.
The jackets are phenomenal.
Oh man.
Thank you.
Amazing quality.
Man.
Top tier.
Great.
Thank you.
ama-
I see y'all sport. See, that
Yes,
was
sir.
the thing. We have to make our educators flyer than the drug dealers, flyer than the rappers. We have to make the people that are really helping have the influence that they should. They have to be looked at as the plug. But you can't tell somebody to do something that you haven't done.
Absolutely.
So with the OSG, y'all want to tell people to be entrepreneurs or tell them to get a job? You can tell them both, but you have to be an entrepreneur to teach it. So they started to be, they putting out books, they're putting out TV shows, they're touring, they're going from being principals to doctors, you know, consultants to the city. You know, they dictate who gets elected or not elected because of their educational intent. They make sure there's accountability. And again, they don't complain, they complain.
They complain. Absolutely.
Got you.
Plan. Come
Absolutely.
plan.
Complain. We got a plan, of course.
Got a plan.
Come Plan,
Complain
not
instead of complain.
complain.
That's my
Yes,
new
sir.
word. Hey, he gave me a new word. He
Speaking
gave me a
of,
new
shout
word.
out to first of all, shout out
I'm
Dr.
making my own
McKeezy and
dictionary too,
OSG.
by the way.
Yes, sir. Shout out to Dr. McKeezy and OSG for setting this up.
Doctor,
Yes, sir.
Doctor,
Doctor.
Professor.
Dr. Professor X. But shout out to him and OSG because we have some schools from the OSG network. Shout out to the New York schools. In fact, Mr. Dash, we actually want to open it up for some of the students to actually be able to ask you some questions. And so shout out to Dallas ISD for tuning in. Shout out to all of you. We love you here. But what we're going to do is we're going to turn it over to one of our schools to be able to ask you a question one-on-one from one of the students.
What's up, bro?
I think he's muted for a second.
Oh, he's really low.
This is really
Give
low.
us a second. Give us a second.
It's all good. Technical difficulties.
Speak louder.
My name is Andrew Brown I'm from Houston, Texas. I go to Crispus Attucks Middle School. I'm in 8th grade. And my question for you is what has been your favorite project that you have created?
My children. They're all equal. So if you ask me who's my favorite kid, I can never tell you. I love them all equal. So everything I've done, I love equal because it's new. Every new thing that I do, and every time someone else can learn how to do it and do it better than me, so from the music to the fashion to having children, everything. It's like the thing is the most gratifying is the stuff that I'm doing in the moment because it's the moment. So that's the stuff that I'm fighting for, that I'm trying to win. Every time I win a war, none better than that.
Absolutely. Okay. Is that just Mr. Dash? Is that your son right
Baby
there?
Costco.
We love to see
That's
it.
Raquel.
Hey.
Wife, she has her books. He has a business. She has his own clothing line. He's the subject matter in all of her books. We didn't want him to have to read other people's books, so we made our own. We didn't want him to look at other people's content, so on Applefish Kids, we made content curated and educated by the OSG, Principal
Absolutely.
Jocko, and he watches our content all day. He wears his clothes.
All
He's
day,
not
yes,
going to
sir.
know I'm starting these patterns early. If you look at him, he does affirmations now. He'll be in the back seat. I put it on Instagram going, I
Great.
am important. I am important. He's doing it now. There's not going to be any lack of confidence in this kid, period.
Absolutely.
Gotcha.
As a matter of fact, we have a second question from our second school in Curie. We love to be able to have them ask a question. We love to. Matter of fact, I think what we're gonna do, and I know your time is precious, Mr. Dash. I know you want to spend more time with your family. Let's wrap it over
Well, no,
to
actually,
the
I
second
have to go
school.
to I have to go to the studio,
Okay.
and I'm actually launching this new gap, and I'm talking to the people that did it.
Right.
That actually did the technology. They're meeting me from Vegas. Worst case, I could get in the car, but you have to have a commercial break. That's got to get over there. But I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay, this is our second school from Curie. Go ahead and introduce yourself and ask your question.
Hello, my name is Kimberly Monroy. I'm a junior at Curie High School, and that's located in Chicago, Illinois. And a question that I had for you, Mr. Dash, was what's some advice that you'd give to a young entrepreneur like myself, like to expand and promote their brand through the use of technology?
So, number one, I do what's called the octopus. So I would draw a circle, which is the head. That's your brand. That's your franchise. Then I do the octopus legs, which are the verticals. So let's say Game Dash. If I could say the music, I make a label. I could say the movies, I do movies, documentaries, the education, the art, all the different things that make me happy, clothing. And then I make them myself. Dame Dash, I'll put out a movie and it'll stimulate all the things in the octopus, and I sell all those things digitally. So there's a direct to consumer. But when I do a different genre, a different business, it gets celebrated in a whole different industry. So when I do something in fashion, the WWD will report it. That's just for fashion, and usually people that are not in fashion don't read it. But I will have fashions here. When I do something in movies, Deadline will report it. Again, trade magazines for movies, but no one else. But at least now I have the movie people talking about it, and so on and so forth. So when I approach a business, I make sure the trade magazines in that particular business talk about it, and then I make it all available on what I'm calling a DAP. And then I use social media and algorithms to target the people I need to talk to. And I continue to stimulate everything I want to sell with content all day long. And that's how I use technology. And again, now I'm Web 2. What I've learned is you can't make no money with a subscription. You got to give it away for free. But now I'm going to Web 3 because I think there's more freedom. Things can get done quicker. And I don't like hustling on a crowded block. I like to try to be the first sometime so that at least when it gets good and people know it, they'll be saying my name. They'll be saying my name even when they're not using it. I'm always going to be in the conversation. So the short answer is understand your brand, understand your vertical, and make them all available digitally and promote them on all the social medias and understand how algorithms work.
Absolutely.
And also get a publisher.
I think that was a great way to end the segment. Mr. Dash, I need to get, okay, let me ask you. We got to have a longer conversation because we have other speakers coming up next, but we got to get you on the podcast because I feel like
Let's
I
do it
know
on
there's
my,
some more gems.
bring this to my spot so I can as well. Because a lot of what y'all teaching, adults need to know too. But I'm glad y'all invested in the future. I'm glad someone from the future is investing in the future. So you guys stay fly. Y'all gonna lead by example. I like the way y'all speak the same language as everyone else. Make sure you fly it in everybody because that's the language they speak. But make sure if you feel anxiety doing it, think about it, figure it out, every option so there's no more anxiety. Don't react in the middle of anxiety. Take a second. There's always going to be problems. Those are tests that are meant to be figured out. The more problems you have, the more you're doing. That means the more problems you'll figure out. That's the definition of a boss, figuring out problems.
Got it.
Love to say. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up one last time for Mr. Dash. Yes, sir. Thank you so much, Mr. Dash, for coming on board. We'll be speaking and staying in touch soon.
What's it called? The new Nerd Tech?
Yeah, New Nerd Teen Tech Live 3.0. Yes, sir. This is the third edition.
Me a nerd is someone that doesn't know tech. The new cool kid has to be savvy in tech, or else he's not cool. That's the new futuristic cool kid. Is what skin does your video game have in your NFT? You know, you have to be able to be cool and graphic.
Absolutely.
And I'm 52. I'm 51, and I know that. Trust me.
Right. And that's what new nerd was because
nerd
like
is.
the nerd when we think about nerds from when we were younger.
We were younger. Nobody liked them.
Big bulky glasses, awkward, couldn't talk to people, always in the books. They were smart, but they didn't have the total package. The new nerd is saying to people, it's cool to be smart. It's cool to learn how to code. You can love to read, but you can also love listening to rap music.
Cool to be different.
It's cool to be different.
The new nerd is the person. To me, the new nerd is the drug dealer. The new nerd is the person that's holding his culture and acting like he's not. You understand what I mean? Y'all the cool kids now, but you could call a cool kid nerd. But I'm telling you, I don't want y'all to ever hear me say nerd and think I'm talking about y'all. I'm talking about people that have no honor.
Yes, sir.
You guys are not what I consider nerds. You guys are the cool dudes.
Yes, sir.
Gotcha.
That's what we call it.
Listen, I'm a cool dude. I wouldn't be here unless you was. I promise you. This is the cool cosign. I'm the guy of cool. You know that. You know what I do.
Sir, absolutely.
I'm gonna give you a hand of cool. I'm passing it to you. Young, fresh to death. You've been
Thank you.
cosign.
We're gonna receive it. Thank you.
Take it.
Mr. Dash, thank you so much for joining us. Let's go to intermission.